Good morning, dear children. Now we will move to our sixth chapter, heat transfer. Okay, so what is heat energy? Or how can you define heat? Heat is a form of energy which produces the sensation of hotness or coldness. If the heat is more on a body, we will call it as a hot body. If the heat is less, we will call it as a cold body, isn't it? And again, when a hot body is kept in contact with a cold body, heat always flows from a hot body to a cold body, isn't it? So with this, we can give one more definition for heat. Heat is a form of energy which flows from a body with high temperature to a body with lower temperature. Okay, so one more definition for heat. Heat is a form of energy which flows from a body with higher temperature to a body with lower temperature. Now, how does heat flows? So last year we learned about this, isn't it? There are three different ways by which heat gets transferred from one body to another. Which are they? Conduction, convection and radiation. These are the three different ways by which heat gets transferred. Now, heat can change the state of a substance, isn't it? We have substances in solid, liquid or gaseous state. By applying heat, we can change the state of a substance. Then heat can cause expansion. And heat also increases the temperature of a body. So what all things we learned? We learned the definition for heat. Heat is a form of energy which produces the sensation of hotness or coldness. Or what you can say, it is a form of energy which flows from a body with higher temperature to a body with lower temperature. Then after that we learned about the transfer of heat. Heat gets transferred by the method of conduction, convection or radiation. So this year we are not going to study in detail about these things. Now we are just revising what all things we learned last year. Okay. Then again, by applying heat, we can change the temperature, we can change the state, as well as a body can expand, isn't it? By applying heat, expansion of a body takes place. Now, when you are considering an element, it is made up of atoms and molecules, and already we learned that molecules in an element are always in random motion, isn't it? So due to motion, it possesses which type of energy? It possesses kinetic energy, isn't it? So due to the motion, the molecules possess kinetic energy, and there is always a strong force of attraction between the molecules of matter, and due to this force of attraction, it possesses potential energy. And the sum of this kinetic and potential energy can be called as the internal energy of the molecules. Okay. So when you are considering matter, the molecules are always in random motion. Due to this, it possesses kinetic energy, and there is a strong force of attraction between the molecules of matter, and due to this force of attraction, they possess potential energy. And the sum of this kinetic and potential energies possessed by the molecules can be called as internal energy. Okay. So, the process of increasing the internal energy, the process of increasing the internal energy is called heating, and the process of decreasing the internal energy is called cooling. So when you are heating, what happens? The kinetic energy and potential energy of the molecule increases. That means there will be an increase in the internal energy. When you are cooling, the kinetic and potential energy decreases. That means there is a decrease in the internal energy. Okay. So the process of Increasing the internal energy can be called as heating, and decreasing the internal energy can be called as cooling. So is it clear? Then already I told you, by applying heat we can increase the temperature as well as change the state of matter. So when we are increasing the temperature, actually there will be an increase in the kinetic energy. Okay, so due to the increase in temperature, the kinetic energy of the molecule increases. And in the case of change of state, how does the state change? In that case, the change will be in the potential energy. Okay, change in potential energy leads to the change in state of matter. So you should remember these two factors. By increasing the temperature, actually the kinetic energy increases, or the increase in kinetic energy will cause the temperature to increase. Okay, then what is the second thing? Change in potential energy leads to a change in the change of state. Okay, change of state is brought out by change in the potential energy, and change in temperature is brought out by the change in kinetic energy. So these are the things what you have to remember about heat. Okay. Then what is temperature? We learned that the degree of hotness or coldness of a body can be called as temperature, isn't it? The measure of hotness or coldness of a body, or measure of heat, is known as temperature. Now, temperature means actually it is the average kinetic energy possessed by the molecules. Average of the kinetic energy, already I told you molecules are possessing both kinetic and potential energy. The average kinetic energy possessed by the molecules can be called as the temperature. Okay, so already we learned that by increasing the temperature, when the temperature increases, how does the temperature increase? By changing the kinetic energy. Change in temperature is due to the change in kinetic energy. That is what we learned, isn't it? So temperature is actually what? It is the average kinetic energy of the molecules. This temperature doesn't depend on the number of particles on an element. That means it won't depend on the size. Okay. As an example, we can have a temperature of 100 degrees Celsius for a glass containing water and a kettle containing water. We are considering a glass filled with water and a kettle filled with water. Both can have the same 100 degrees Celsius. Glass means its size is less, kettle means size is more. But both can have same 100 degrees Celsius. That means temperature won't depend on the size of the material. It is just the average kinetic energy possessed by the molecules. It won't depend on the size. Okay. Similarly, we can say that when you are taking a glass of water, it can attain a temperature of 100 degree, and a bucket of water can attain a temperature of 30 degree. When you consider the size of bucket is more than that of glass. It doesn't mean that the temperature of water present in the bucket should be more than the temperature of water in the glass. Okay. So what you can infer from this, temperature is the average kinetic energy of the molecules. It won't depend on the number of particles present on an element. That means it won't depend on the size. So it's a very important point what you have to remember. Okay. So according to kinetic theory, we are giving a definition for temperature. In general, we will say that temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of a body. But according to kinetic theory, what is the definition for temperature? It is the average kinetic energy possessed by the molecules. It won't depend on the size. Okay. So keep this point in your mind. Now, when you are considering a body, already we learned that the molecules are always in random motion. If you are considering a hot body, the molecules, the speed of the molecules will be more, and if it is a cold body, its speed will be less. Okay, the molecules, the speed of molecules in a hot body will be more than the speed of molecules in a cold body. Now we are bringing these two bodies in contact. Okay, so what happens? Naturally, the molecules or the heat flow from hot body to the cold body, isn't it? When a hot body is kept in contact with a cold body, heat flows from hot body to cold body. Then what happens to the speed of the molecules? The speed of the molecules in the hot body will decrease, and the speed of the molecules in the cold body will increase until the speed of the molecules became same in both the cases. When will the speed be same? When both the bodies attain same temperature. Okay, so once again I'll tell you, when you are considering a hot body, the speed of molecules, we learned that molecules in an element are always in random motion. The speed of the molecules will be more in a hot body than in a cold body. When a hot body is kept in contact with a cold body, heat flows from hot body to cold body. Now, when these two bodies are kept in contact, the speed of molecules in the hot body will decrease, and the speed of molecules in the hot body will decrease, and the speed of molecules in the cold body will increase until both attains the same speed. So when will both the bodies attain same speed? When both are having the same temperature. Okay. Then one more thing we can consider about temperature. Normally when you are supplying heat energy, when you are heating a substance, you can see that its temperature increases, isn't it? Because the molecules are getting more kinetic energy, and as a result the temperature increases. But at the time of change of state, what happens? The temperature remains constant at the time of change of state. When matter changes from one state to another, temperature remains constant. So what is the reason for that? At that time, the entire heat energy what we supply is used in order to change the state, not to increase the temperature. What is the reason? Here, the energy supplied is used in order to change the potential energy. If there is change in kinetic energy, then only temperature will increase. If it is change in potential energy, then what happens? Potential energy is due to the force of attraction between the molecules. So at the time of change of state, the entire heat which we supply is used in order to separate or rearrange the molecules. That is why temperature remains as a constant. Okay. So at the time of change of state, temperature remains as a constant. The reason is the entire heat energy is used in order to change the potential energy of the molecules. That means in order to rearrange the molecules of matter. Okay. So till this, it is actually an introduction part. We have learned few things related to heat. We revised a few things related to heat as well as temperature. Now we will be coming to the main points of this chapter. First, it is the difference between boiling and evaporation. Okay. So first we will be considering about evaporation. So in the case of boiling and evaporation, actually here there will be a change of state from liquid to vapor. Change of state from liquid to vapor takes place both in the case of boiling as well as in the case of evaporation. But this doesn't mean that boiling and evaporation are same. The only thing is, in both the cases, liquid gets converted to vapor. But there are many differences. We will go through the differences. Okay. So first we will be discussing about evaporation. So how can you define evaporation? The change of state from liquid to vapor at a temperature less than the boiling point can be called as evaporation. Okay. So the change of state from liquid to vapor at a temperature, that is the main point. Liquid to vapor, but at a temperature less than the boiling point. That means evaporation can take place at any temperature. Okay. So when you are when one or two drops or some water is spilled on the floor, after some time it won't be there, isn't it? What happens? That water gets evaporated, or after a rainy day, you can see full of mud and rainwater, isn't it? Then within a day or two, you cannot even see a single drop of water there. What happens? Did we heat and converted all these things into vapor? No, we didn't apply any heat there. Actually, this entire water gets evaporated, isn't it? So, if a object want to be boiled means it requires the boiling point. We have to apply the heat there. But in the case of evaporation, we are not going to apply any heat. It absorbs heat from the surroundings and the object gets converted to vapor. Okay. So, you should know what is evaporation, and the main thing difference is it takes place at a temperature below the boiling point. Now, this evaporation is actually a surface phenomenon. That means the molecules present on the surface gets evaporated. Okay, that is another important point about evaporation. It is a surface phenomenon. Now, the next thing we will learn how evaporation takes place. Okay, so in the case of evaporation, I told you here the liquid gets converted to vapor at any temperature. It will be less than our boiling point, isn't it? So, how this evaporation take place? That is what we are going to discuss. So, we are going to consider water present in a beaker. So, here it is made up of molecules, isn't it? We'll be having, and just draw the molecules. That will be easier. So, we are having many molecules in this. And what is the specialty? These molecules are always in random motion, isn't it? So, when they are moving, they collide with each other. When the molecules collide with each other, few molecules will gain energy and few molecules will lose energy. Okay, molecules in an object will be always in random motion. When they are moving, they collide with each other. Then the molecules, few molecules will gain energy and few will lose energy. The molecules which gain energy means they got more than enough energy, and that energy is more than enough to overcome the attractive forces from other molecules. When you are considering any molecule inside this, it will be attracted by other molecules, isn't it? There is a strong force of attraction between the molecules of matter. And in the case of liquids, the force of attraction is less than that of solids, but again we have a force of attraction between the molecules. So, simply they can't escape from this force of attraction. When they collide with each other, they will get more energy. When they get more energy, that energy will be sufficient to overcome this force of attraction. And then what happens? They will break the bond between these molecules and they will escape. That means it gets converted to vapor. This is what happens in the case of evaporation. Okay. So, I'll repeat once again. In the case of evaporation, when you are considering matter, the molecules are always in random motion. When they move, they collide with each other. When they collide, few will gain energy and few will lose energy. The molecules which gain energy will come to the surface and they have more energy, or they have enough energy to overcome the attractive forces from other molecules. So, they will burst out, or they will come out to the outer part of this, or it escapes out and gets converted to vapor. Okay. So, is it clear? In the case of liquids, the molecules are bound. The force is more than that in gases. When the bonds are broken means they can move apart easily and these molecules will move out. It escapes and gets converted into vapor. So, is it clear how evaporation takes place? Now, when these molecules gets escaped from this, when they move out, it decreases the average temperature of the other molecules present inside this. Okay. Few molecules will get extra energy and they will move out. It gets converted to vapor. Change of state takes place there. And when these molecules are moving out, what happens? The average temperature of the other molecules decreases. And that is the reason why a cooling effect is produced in the case of evaporation. Okay. So, when the molecules gets escaped, the average temperature of the other molecules present will decrease, and this results in a cooling effect. So what all things we learned about evaporation? Evaporation is the change of state from liquid to vapor at a temperature below the boiling point. Then it is a surface phenomenon. The molecules which get more energy will come to the surface. Then it is having more energy to break the bonds. That is force of attraction from other molecules, and it escapes out. Then evaporation always produces a cooling effect. When these molecules move out, the average temperature of the other molecules decreases, and what happens thereby? A cooling effect is produced. Okay, so is it clear? Now we will be moving to the factors on which rate of evaporation depends. Okay, which are the factors on which rate of evaporation depends? So we are going to discuss about 6 different factors on which rate of evaporation depends. First factor, first one is about the area of the exposed surface. Okay, it's area of the exposed surface. When area increases, rate of evaporation also increases. For example, after washing the clothes, we'll put it out in order to get dried, isn't it? So how will we keep the clothes? Will you keep it together, or we will spread the clothes? Normally we'll spread the clothes and put it out, isn't it? In order to get dried. So why are we spreading it? When we are spreading means the area increases. When the area increases, what happens? Rate of evaporation increases. Wet clothes gets dried due to the process of evaporation, isn't it? So, when the area increases, when you are spreading it, rate of evaporation increases and the clothes gets dried easily. So, this is the first point. Now, the second one is the temperature of the surroundings. So when the temperature of the surrounding increases, what happens? Rate of evaporation also increases. That is why when we put the clothes on a sunny day, what is the specialty of a sunny day? Temperature is more. So it gets dried easily than a normal or a rainy day, isn't it? So if the temperature of the surroundings increases, rate of evaporation also increases, so our clothes gets dried easily. So drying of the clothes are a very simple example in order to explain these things. Now the third one is the temperature of this body itself. Okay, so after taking a hot bath, when you come out, when you are pouring hot water, it's okay, we'll feel so warm. But once you come out after the bath, we'll feel cool, isn't it? When you are pouring the hot water continuously, we'll feel warm. But once you come out, we will feel more cool there. Do you know what is the reason? We have the hot water molecules on our body, and rate of evaporation increases with increase in the temperature of the body. So what happens? This hot water present in the body gets evaporated easily. Then how it gets evaporated? In order to change the state, anyway, heat has to be absorbed, and this heat is absorbed from our body. Hot water molecules on our body gets evaporated easily than the cold water molecules, and the amount of heat energy required for this evaporation is taken from our body. That is why when heat is removed, it will be cool. That is why it will be cool after a hot water bath. Okay. Now the fourth one is the presence of water vapor or humidity. What is humidity? Humidity is the presence of water vapor condensed in the atmosphere. Now, if the humidity increases, what happens to the rate of evaporation? Rate of evaporation decreases with increase in humidity. So if you put your clothes out on a rainy day or on a humid day, rainy day anyway we won't keep the clothes out. So on a humid day, if it is not a sunny day, much sunlight is not there, and if you put your clothes out, it won't get dried easily. The reason is it is humid. That means more water vapor contents are there on the atmosphere, and it actually decreases the rate of evaporation. Okay, so rate of evaporation decreases with increase in humidity. Now, the next one is the nature. Few substances gets evaporated easily, and few substances rate of evaporation is more in certain substances. For example, if you pour a drop of petrol or diesel on your hand, within seconds it gets evaporated, or kerosene. But if you pour some water on your hand, it will take more time to get evaporated. So depending upon the substance, nature of the substance, evaporation, rate of evaporation also varies. Okay. Now the last one is the presence of wind. Rate of evaporation increases with wind. So as an example, if it is a rainy day, we cannot put our clothes out to get dried. Instead of that, what normally we'll do? We will be putting it in our room itself, and we'll switch on the fan, isn't it? So when the fan is switched on, we are getting the wind, and rate of evaporation increases and the clothes gets dried easily. That means wind increases the rate of evaporation. Okay. So is it clear about the factors on which rate of evaporation depend? It depends on 6 factors. Area. If the area of the exposed surface increases, rate of evaporation increases. So what should come to your mind at that time? Spreading of wet clothes. Temperature of the surroundings. Clothes gets dried easily when you put it out on a sunny day. Temperature of the body. When you are after taking a hot bath, you will feel cool. Reason is hot water molecules are there and it gets evaporated easily than the cold water molecules. And the heat energy required for evaporation is taken from our body, and this results in the what? This is the reason for the coolness what we feel. Then if the water vapor content in the atmosphere increases, then rate of evaporation decreases. That is why clothes won't get dried easily on a humid day. Then different substances are having different rates of evaporation. Petrol or diesel gets evaporated easily than water. And the last one, on a windy day, clothes gets dried easily. So if it is a rainy day, normally we will switch the fan. Switch the fan on so that the clothes gets dried easily. The reason is wind increases the rate of evaporation. Okay, so is it clear till this portion? Okay, now we'll be continuing in the next video. Thank you.